Daniel sat alone in his small diner on the edge of the human colony, staring at the flickering sign outside. The place was quiet, too quiet. Once his diner used to be full of workers, travelers, and hungry miners. But now the chairs stood empty, and the kitchen smelled of yesterday's food. He sighed and looked at the paper in his hand. He had written a simple job ad. Cook wanted, meals, pay, room included. He needed help. He needed someone to keep the diner alive. He posted the ad on the colony's board that morning, expecting maybe a tired worker or a young man looking for quick credits. Daniel did not expect anything strange. He only hoped for someone reliable, someone who could cook better than he could. The hours passed. The sun sank low. The sky outside the colony dome turned orange. Daniel cleaned the counter for the third time. No one had come yet. The doorbell jingled suddenly. Daniel's head lifted. At last, maybe someone had answered the ad. He straightened his apron and tried to smile. But when the door opened, the whole diner went silent. A tall alien woman stepped inside, her skin pale blue, her eyes glowing faint gold in the dim light. In her arms she carried a small bundle, wrapped tightly in a rough cloth. The bundle moved and gave a tiny sound. It was a baby. Daniel froze. He had never seen an alien this close before. The colony was human territory. Aliens were rare here, and most people feared them. The few customers at the corner table stared in shock. One of them muttered, "What the hell is she doing here?" The woman's voice was soft but firm, her words broken. "Job Cook. I saw sign." She lifted her chin, clutching the baby tighter. Daniel blinked. He could not believe what he was hearing. An alien mother had come, not just alone, but with a baby, and she wanted the cooking job. The customers whispered louder, "Throw her out." One man hissed, "Don't let her stay. Aliens bring trouble." Another said. The alien mother stepped closer to the counter, her eyes pleading, "Need work, need food, baby hungry." Her voice cracked on the last word. The baby whimpered softly. The sound filled the room. Small, helpless, not human but still a child. Daniel's chest tightened. He looked at the baby, its tiny fingers clutched at the cloth. Its small mouth opened and closed, searching for food, for safety. He swallowed hard. He knew the colony's rules. Humans first. Aliens always watched, always distrusted. Helping her could mean trouble. The officials might come. People might stop coming to his diner. But as he looked into her glowing eyes, he saw no threat. Only desperation. Only a mother trying to protect her child. "What's your name?" Daniel asked quietly. She hesitated, then said, "Lyra." Her voice was low. "My baby, Kiri." She pulled the bundle closer to her chest as if afraid he might take it away. The man at the corner stood up, his chair scraping. "Daniel, don't you dare. If you let her work here, you'll bring ruin. They'll shut this place down." Daniel's heart pounded. Everyone was staring at him now, waiting for his answer. His diner, his rules, his choice. He looked at Lyra again, her thin arms trembling from carrying the baby, her clothes torn and dusty as if she had walked a long way, her face calm but her eyes filled with silent fear. Daniel drew in a breath. "You came here for the job," he said slowly. "Then sit, rest, you and your baby. You're safe here." Gasps filled the room. The men at the corner cursed. One spat on the floor before storming out, but Daniel did not move. He stood firm. Lyra blinked, stunned, then bowed her head slightly. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. The baby made a small sound again, softer this time, as if sensing safety for the first time. Daniel reached out without thinking and touched the edge of the blanket. Tiny fingers brushed against his hand, warm, fragile, alive. At that moment, Daniel knew he had crossed a line. He had invited something dangerous, something different into his life, but deep down he felt it was the right choice. The neon sign outside buzzed louder. The shadows in the diner seemed heavier, as if the whole colony would soon hear of this moment. Daniel did not care. He looked at the alien mother and her baby, and he whispered to himself, "Cook wanted, and maybe more than just food will be cooked here. The baby stirred. The alien mother sat quietly, and the rest of the diner held its breath, not knowing that this single choice would change everything. The diner felt heavy after Daniel's choice. The customers who stayed kept whispering, their eyes sharp with suspicion. Lyra sat at a corner table, holding her baby close. Her thin hands trembling, she looked both relieved and afraid. Daniel brought her a glass of water and a plate of food. He placed it gently on the table. Lyra stared at the meal, her golden eyes widening. Slowly, she unwrapped her baby's blanket, just enough so the small face peeked out. Kiri made a soft noise, weak and tired. Lyra broke the bread with her fingers and dipped it in the stew, then carefully pressed it against the baby's mouth. At first the child only whimpered, then slowly began to eat. Tiny bites, soft sounds. Daniel stood watching, something strange stirring in his chest. He had seen hungry children before, human children from poor miners' families, but this was different. The baby's eyes opened and they glowed faintly in the dim light, like molten gold behind thin lids. The sight sent a chill through the room. One man muttered, "That's not natural," another whispered. "Monsters, both of them." Daniel turned sharply. "Quiet," he said, his voice stronger than he felt. The men looked down, but their glares stayed. Lyra fed the baby slowly, her lips moving in words Daniel could not understand. It was not English, it was not any human language. It was soft and flowing, like a song. The baby calmed, eyes half closed, the glow dimming to a faint shimmer. Daniel sat across from her. "Why did you come here?" he asked quietly. Lyra's eyes flicked toward him, then around the room as if checking if anyone was listening. She lowered her voice. "Saw the word cook," she said slowly, her accent heavy. "Food. Baby hungry. I can cook, please." Daniel leaned back, his mind racing. She had not come for money. She had not come for shelter first. She came for food, for her child. The baby gave a small cough, a strange sound, not human at all, almost like a crystal. Cracking, Daniel's heart jumped. The customers stiffened, one of them stood up suddenly, his hand near his belt. "Sit down," Daniel snapped before the man could move further. "She's feeding her baby, nothing more." His voice carried a warning. The man sat back down, muttering curses. Lyra's hands shook harder. "People hate us," she whispered, her English struggling but her meaning clear. "Everywhere, doors closed, chased away, baby hungry, no food, no safe place." Daniel saw her eyes glisten, tears forming but not falling. She was trying to stay strong. The baby finished eating and gave a soft sigh. Curling into her chest, Lyra rocked the child gently, her face softening as she looked down at Kiri. In that moment, despite the alien skin and glowing eyes, Daniel saw nothing but a mother's love. He rubbed his forehead. His diner had been empty for months, customers leaving, profits gone. Now an alien mother sat inside, feeding her glowing baby, and something in his heart told him this was exactly the kind of madness he needed. "Can you cook human food?" Daniel asked carefully. Lyra looked at him, blinking, then nodded. "I learn fast," she said. "I know food, many kinds, spices." She placed her hand on her chest. "I can help. I can work. Only give us chance." The customers snorted. One of them laughed. "She'll poison us before she feeds us," he sneered. Daniel's jaw tightened. He looked around the diner. Once this place had been, the kitchen air was thick with the strange new smell, rich and warm. Daniel stood near the doorway, arms crossed, watching Lyra as she moved, her hands steady now, her eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The baby tied to her back gave soft sounds, not crying, but humming as if the food itself calmed him. Outside the kitchen, the customers had gone silent. The scent drifting into the diner caught their attention. It was different, but inviting. Even the ones who had been ready to leave now leaned closer, sniffing the air with curiosity. Daniel felt something stir inside him, maybe hope, maybe fear. He had taken a risk allowing her into the kitchen. One wrong move and his diner could be ruined, but right now, with the smell filling the room, he wondered if this was the best decision he had ever made. Lyra stirred the pot, the vegetables sizzling, the dark spice mixing into the broth. She moved with careful rhythm, her face calm but her eyes always flicking toward her baby. Her whole body spoke of someone who had carried fear for too long, yet still carried love stronger than fear. Daniel cleared his throat. "Where did you learn this?" he asked. She looked at him quickly, then back at the pot. "My mother," she said softly. "She cooked for family, for village, before—" She stopped, her voice catching. She shook her head and focused on the food. Daniel did not press her. He only watched as she ladled a small portion into a bowl and placed it on the counter. The color was brighter than any stew he had made, the smell sharp yet sweet. "Try," she said quietly, holding the bowl toward him. Daniel hesitated, part of him still suspicious. But his curiosity won. He lifted the spoon and tasted. The flavor burst across his tongue, warm, deep, unlike anything he had ever eaten. It was not just food. It carried comfort, as if it filled more than his stomach. His eyes widened. He looked at her. This is good," he whispered, almost in disbelief. The customers outside began to grumble, impatient. One of them called out, "Are you going to feed us or what?" Daniel glanced at Lyra. She nodded slightly. He carried the pot into the diner and served a few bowls. The men eyed the strange stew with suspicion, but the smell was too strong, too tempting. One by one they tasted it, and silence followed. A long pause, then one of them muttered, "Not bad." Another grunted, "Better than your old stew, Daniel." The others nodded reluctantly. Daniel felt his lips twitch in the first real smile he had in weeks, but his relief was short-lived. The doorbell jingled again, and two men in gray uniforms stepped inside. Colony officials, their sharp eyes scanning the room. They spotted Lyra instantly, their faces hardening. One of them stepped forward. "You," he barked, pointing. "Alien, you have no right here. You cannot work in human territory. Hand her over, Daniel." The customers froze, spoons halfway to their mouths. All eyes turned to Daniel. Lyra stiffened, clutching her baby tighter, fear flashing in her golden eyes. Daniel's throat went dry. This was the moment he had feared. His choice was about to cost him everything. If he gave her up, the officials would leave him alone. The diner might go back to its empty routine. If he refused, he could lose his license, maybe even his freedom. The official slammed his hand on the counter. "Did you hear me, Daniel? She doesn't belong here. The baby doesn't belong here. Give them to us now." The baby whimpered at the sharp sound, his faint golden glow flickering. Daniel's chest tightened. He saw the small child pressing into his mother's chest, scared but silent. He remembered the taste of the stew, the calm in Lyra's hands, the desperate way she had walked through the door, not asking for money, not asking for safety, only for food for her child. His fists clenched, his heart pounded. "She works here now," Daniel said firmly, his voice steady though his stomach churned. "She answered the ad. She cooks, she stays." The room gasped. The officials narrowed their eyes, one leaned closer, his voice low and dangerous. "You don't know what you're doing, Daniel. You're protecting a fugitive. And that child is not safe." Daniel's jaw tightened. "He's just a baby," he said. Hungry, tired, and innocent. The official's face darkened. He leaned back, gesturing to the door. "We'll be back, and when we return, you'll regret this." They left, the door slamming shut behind them, the sound echoing through the diner like a warning bell. The customers muttered nervously. Some stood and quickly left, not wanting trouble. Soon the diner was almost empty again. Only Daniel, Lyra the baby, and two quiet miners who kept eating. Lyra whispered, her voice shaking. "You risk much. Why?" Daniel looked at her, then at the baby now sleeping against her chest. "Because someone had to," he said simply. He turned to the window, the neon sign flickering against the dark sky outside. The colony would soon know about this. Rumors would spread, trouble would come. But Daniel felt a strange fire inside him. He had made a risky choice, and now there was no turning back. Asterisk. The night outside the colony was quiet, but inside Daniel's diner, the silence felt heavy. The two miners finished their bowls and left quickly, not even looking at Daniel, Soon only he, Lyra, and the baby remained. The hum of the old lights above filled the empty space. Daniel sat at the counter, his hands rubbing his tired face. Lyra sat in the corner, her baby pressed against her chest. Kiri's faint golden glow had dimmed to a soft flicker. The child sleeping soundly now. Daniel's mind raced. He knew the officials would return. They had seen her, they had seen the baby. He had defied them, and that meant trouble was coming. He glanced at Lyra. She sat straight but tense, her eyes never fully resting, always flicking toward the door. The way she held her child told Daniel she had lived too long on the run. Why? Are they after you? Daniel asked quietly, breaking the silence. Lyra hesitated, then shook her head. Because of him, she whispered, looking down at her baby, her hand stroking the soft cloth wrapped around him. They say he is dangerous. Daniel frowned. He's just a baby, her lips pressed tight. To you. Yes, to them. No, she said, her golden eyes shining faintly. He was born different. They fear what he might become, my people. And yours. Before Daniel could ask more, the diner's front door rattled violently. Someone was trying to push it open. Then came a loud bang, a heavy fist against the glass. Daniel stood quickly, his heart pounding. Lyra held her baby tighter, her body stiff. The door burst open. 3 men in dark coats stormed in, their faces hard, their eyes cold. Hunters. Daniel had heard of them. Men who tracked aliens across human space, selling them for credits. The tallest one pointed at Lyra. There she is, his voice deep and sharp. The runaway and her spawn. Lyra stood, her back to the wall. Please, she whispered. Leave us. The man sneered. You think you can hide here, alien? The colony law is clear, you don't belong. And that child. His eyes narrowed at the bundle in her arms. That child is worth more than you can imagine. Daniel stepped forward, his hands shaking but his voice steady. This is my diner, you have no right. The hunter laughed, a cruel sound. You think you can stop us, human, you don't even know what you're protecting. He spat on the floor. Step aside before you get hurt. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears, but he did not move. He stood between Lyra and the hunters, his diner suddenly feeling smaller, darker, as if the walls themselves were closing in. The baby stirred, letting out a small cry, a sound not human, sharp and echoing like a crystal note. The lights above flickered. The hunters froze for a moment, eyes widening. What was that? One hissed, his voice uneasy. Lyra rocked the baby quickly, whispering in her alien tongue, trying to calm him. Shh, Kiri, shh. Her voice soft and desperate. The golden glow returned, faint at first, then brighter. The hunters stepped back. One of them muttered, This isn't normal. The leader's eyes hardened. All the more reason to take it, he growled. Hand them over now. Daniel clenched his fists, his whole body trembling. He knew if they fought, he would lose. But if he gave Lyra up, he would lose something far greater, his own soul. You're not taking them, Daniel said, his voice low but firm. The hunters glared. One of them reached inside his coat. The metallic click of a weapon echoed in the room. Lyra gasped, shielding her baby, her eyes shining with fear and anger, and that moment, the doorbell jingled again and 3 colony officials stepped inside. The same ones from earlier, their eyes locking on the hunters. Enough, the officer barked. This is colony ground, no fighting here. The hunters snarled but lowered their hands, the tension still thick. The officer turned to Daniel, his face grim. You've gone too far. Protecting her is against the law. You know this, Daniel. Daniel's throat went dry. The room felt like it was closing in on him. Hunters on one side, officials on the other. Lyra behind him, clutching her glowing child. The officer pointed at her. She's a fugitive. Her kind are forbidden here. And that baby is dangerous to everyone in this colony. Hand them over before things get worse. Daniel's heart pounded. Everyone stared at him, waiting, the choice heavy on his shoulders. He looked at Lyra, her eyes begging without words, her baby glowing softly against her chest. He saw not a threat but a mother and child with nowhere else to go. Daniel took a shaky breath. "She stays," he said, louder this time, his voice carrying through the diner. "As long as I stand here, she stays." The room exploded with shouts, the hunters cursing, the officials demanding order. The baby, glowing brighter as if sensing the storm around him, the lights above flickering wildly, and for the first time, Daniel realized this was no longer about a simple job ad, no longer about a diner on the edge of the colony. This was about something far bigger, something that could shake the whole world. The diner lights flickered again, the smell of smoke from the hunters' coats mixed with the tension in the air. Daniel stood frozen between the officials and the hunters, his chest rising and falling as if each breath carried the weight of a mountain. Lyra clutched Kiri tightly, her golden eyes flashing with fear. The baby whimpered, glowing softly. Every sound from him seemed to pull the room tighter. The hunters stepped forward, the officials barked orders, and the whole place felt like it would break apart. "Enough," Daniel shouted, his voice echoing in the diner. Silence fell for a moment. Everyone stared at him. "You all keep calling this baby dangerous, but none of you explain why." His jaw clenched. "So someone better tell me the truth." The officials exchanged uneasy glances. The leader shook his head. "It is not for you to know, human. All you need to understand is that child cannot remain here." Lyra's breath came fast, her body trembling. Daniel turned to her, his voice softer now. "Tell me, Lyra, tell me why they are after you, why your baby is so important." Her eyes filled with tears, her lips pressed tight for a long moment. She said nothing, only rocking her baby, the room tense with waiting. Finally, she lifted her chin, her voice breaking. "Because my son is born with gift." The hunter sneered. "Gift? You mean curse?" One spat. Lyra ignored them, her voice steadying. "He can heal," she whispered, her golden eyes locking. With Daniel's, "Since he was born, Kiri carries light, his touch mends wounds, his cry eases pain. Even sickness fades near him." She pressed her cheek against her baby's head. "He is blessing, not curse." Daniel's heart skipped. The room fell quiet. The hunters stared in disbelief. The officials stiffened. The leader's face darkened. "That is why both sides hunt him," Lyra continued, her words flowing faster now. "My people fear him. They want to take him, use him for war. Humans fear him too. They think he will grow to be weapon." Her arms tightened around Kiri. "But he is just a child." Daniel's mind reeled. A child with power to heal. Something neither human nor alien had ever claimed. No wonder they wanted him. No wonder she had been running. One of the hunters snarled, "That kind of power should not exist. It will unbalance everything. No one can be trusted with it." Daniel shot him a glare. "He's a baby," he said sharply. "Not a weapon, not a curse, just a child who needs his mother." The official leader slammed his hand on the counter. "You don't understand, Daniel. Powers like this invite chaos. Wars have started. For less, if this news spreads, whole fleets will burn each other to claim him." He pointed a finger at Kiri. "The safest thing is to remove him before anyone else finds out." Lyra gasped, her voice rising in fury for the first time. "Remove him? You mean kill him?" Her cry shook the room, her golden eyes burning bright. The baby stirred, glowing stronger, the lights above sparking with his energy. The hunters stepped back nervously, one whispering, "He's waking up." Daniel's hands clenched into fists. He felt fear, yes, but also anger boiling inside him. He had seen greed in men before. Miners fighting over scraps of ore. Traders cheating the poor. But this was worse. They wanted to take an innocent child and twist him into something dark. "No," Daniel said firmly, his voice steady like stone. "He's not leaving this diner. Not while I'm alive." The officials glared at him, the hunters growled, the baby glowed brighter, casting golden light across the walls, the air humming with strange power. Daniel turned to Lyra. "If what you say is true, then we have to protect him no matter what." Her lips trembled, her eyes softening. "You would risk your life for us," she whispered. Daniel nodded, his throat tight. "Because it's the right thing to do." The baby gave a soft sound then, not a cry, but a note, pure and clear, like a single drop of water hitting glass. Daniel felt warmth wash through him, the ache in his tired body fading, his breath easier. He realized in shock the child's power was real, not just words. The hunter's eyes widened. One of them touched his arm where an old scar ran deep. His face paled. "It's gone," he muttered, pulling back his sleeve. The scar had faded, his skin smooth. Fear replaced anger in their eyes. Even the officials stepped back, unsure now. The truth had been revealed in the simplest way possible. A baby's gift. Daniel stood taller, facing them all. "You see now, he heals, he brings. Life, not death," his voice firm. "And I'll fight anyone who tries to harm him." The hunters muttered among themselves, shaken. The officials whispered too, their authority cracking. Lyra sank into the chair, tears slipping down her cheeks. She kissed her baby's forehead, whispering in her language, her voice soft and trembling. Daniel looked at them both, a strange calm filling his chest. The storm outside was growing, but in this moment, in this small diner, he knew the truth. He was no longer just protecting an alien cook. He was protecting hope. The night stretched long over the colony, but Daniel's diner glowed with a strange golden light. The baby's faint hum still lingered in the air, calming yet heavy. Lyra sat in the corner, rocking Kiri gently, whispering to him. Daniel stood at the counter, his hands gripping the edge, his mind racing. The hunters had left, but not in defeat. Their faces had been filled with anger and greed. The officials too had walked out, whispering threats under their breath. Daniel knew they would return, not just a few of them, but many. He moved through the diner, checking the door, pulling down the blinds, locking windows that had never been locked before. His heart pounded. He had never thought his small place, a simple diner, would become a fortress, but tonight, it had to. Lyra watched him, her eyes tired but sharp. "They will come," she said softly, her voice heavy with certainty. "Not just men but fire. They will not stop, not while Kiri lives." Daniel swallowed hard. "Then we hold them off," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. "This is my diner. No one burns it down without going through me first." The baby stirred, glowing faintly, the hum spreading like a soft song across the room. Daniel felt strength in his chest, the fear still there but wrapped now in something stronger. Resolve. He grabbed a chair and shoved it under the door handle, moved the tables against the windows, his hands steady though sweat ran down his neck. He looked at Lyra. "Help me." Together they pushed heavy shelves against the back door, Daniel's diner slowly turning into a barricade. The smell of spices from earlier cooking still lingered in the air, but now it mixed with the bitter tang of fear. Hours passed like this. Silence outside, tension inside. Every creak of the building made Daniel's stomach tighten, until finally the sound came. Boots on the street, dozens of them marching closer. Daniel froze, listening. Then the voices reached him, muffled at first, then clear. "Open the door," a harsh voice shouted. "By order of the colony, hand over the alien and her child." Daniel's jaw clenched. He looked at Lyra, her face pale, the baby pressed tight against her chest. The door rattled violently, fists pounding, then a crash as something heavy slammed against it. The chair shook under the force, the wood groaning. Daniel's voice thundered back. "This is private property. You have no right to take them." The answer was another slam, harder this time. The window glass shivered in its frame. Outside, shadows moved. Daniel counted at least 10, maybe more, hunters mixed with officials, their greed and fear binding them together. Inside, the diner lights flickered again. Kiri whimpered, his glow brightening. Lyra rocked him, whispering desperately, her words in her alien tongue rising like a chant. Daniel grabbed an iron pan from the kitchen, holding it like a weapon, his hands tight, sweat dripping, his heart beating like a drum. The front door shook again, wood splintering. They would break through soon. "Daniel," Lyra whispered, her golden eyes meeting his. "If they take him, they will use him, twist him. The light will become darkness, please. We cannot let them." Daniel nodded, his voice steady. "They'll have to kill me first." The crash came then, the front door splintering, hunters pushing through, their weapon. Lyra pressed into the corner, shielding her child, the golden glow spilling brighter, filling the diner with strange warmth. The men faltered for a second, their eyes wide at the sight. "Do you feel that?" one of them whispered, his voice trembling. It's inside me," another growled. "Shut up and take the child." Daniel shoved a table forward, blocking the second wave, his body straining, his arms burning. But he did not step back. The glow grew brighter. The baby cried out, a sound, sharp and pure. The whole room shuddered as if the walls themselves had heard it. The lights overhead burst into sparks, golden fire dancing through the wires. The hunters froze, some falling to their knees, clutching at old wounds that suddenly faded, scars disappearing, pain dissolving. But the leader snarled, his eyes wild. "No! This power belongs to us!" He lunged forward, grabbing at Lyra. Daniel roared, slamming into him, the two crashing. Against the counter, fists flying, the sound of struggle filling the air. Lyra screamed, holding Kiri tighter, the baby glowing so bright now that the whole diner looked like it was made of sunlight. Outside, more fists pounded against the walls, more voices shouting the siege was not over, it was only beginning. But in that golden light, Daniel felt something he had not felt in years. Stronger than fear, stronger than anger, he felt hope. And he knew, no matter how many men stood outside, no matter how much fire they brought, he would stand here, between them and this child, until his last breath. The diner shook with the pounding on its doors. The glow from Kiri spread across the cracked walls like firelight. Daniel's arms burned from fighting, his chest heaved with every breath, but he stood firm. The pan in his hand bent from striking, his body bruised but unbroken. Lyra crouched in the corner, rocking Kiri, the baby's glow so bright now that his small face shone like molten gold. His cries no longer weak but strong, filling the air like music. The hunters shielded their eyes. The officials hesitated at the door, fear battling with greed in their hearts. Daniel's voice thundered above the chaos. "Look at him. He is not a weapon. He is life." His words carried through the room. "You fear him because you do not understand him, but you cannot kill what you fear. You cannot steal what does not belong to you." The lead hunter snarled, wiping blood from his mouth. "Fool, you think one child can change anything. He is power, and power is meant to be taken." He lunged again, his blade flashing. Daniel caught his wrist, straining, the metal slicing his arm, hot pain burning his skin. He cried out but did not let go. He shoved the hunter back, blood dripping from his arm. Lyra gasped, seeing the wound. Kiri's glow flared. The baby reached out a tiny hand. The air trembled. Daniel's wound closed before their eyes, the blood fading, the pain gone, his skin whole again. Gasps filled the diner. The hunters staggered back. The officials, frozen shock, even the leader's eyes widened. Daniel looked down at his healed arm, his breath caught. He felt strength flooding him, not just in his body but in his heart. He raised his voice again. "Do you see now? He heals. He saves. He is not curse. He is miracle." The baby gave another cry, the golden light washing over. The men, scars fading, aches dissolving. One of the hunters dropped his weapon, falling to his knees, tears in his eyes. It's true, he whispered. "He saved me." The officials stepped back, their power crumbling in the face of what they saw. Whispers spread among them, fear shifting into awe. But the leader still raged, his greed too deep. He grabbed his weapon again, screaming, "No, he belongs to us," and charged toward Lyra. Daniel moved without thought, stepping between them. His arm raised, the blade came down, but it never touched him. The glow flared brighter. A shield of golden light bursting out from Kiri. The hunter was thrown back, slamming into the wall, his weapon clattering away. The diner was silent then, the golden light softening. Kiri's eyes half closed, his small body weak from the effort. Lyra rocked him gently, whispering, "Rest, my light. Rest." Everyone stared. No one spoke, the truth no longer hidden. Daniel turned, his eyes burning. He faced the officials, the hunters, the few humans who had gathered outside and were peeking through the broken windows. "You came here to